York's backyard. He's there now. 9/11, the tie to that horrible day and the emotion there. A Harlem school, and now Madison Square Garden.
I want to just show our viewers, we're standing right above Central Park, above Columbus Circle. If we look down, we can see the crowds in the midst of those trees right behind us. And just outside, you see all these people. They're not going to get inside Central Park, John, but they're going to try to get at least a little glimpse of what's going on, a moment they will always cherish.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think it's worth remembering that for them, this isn't just tourism. And, this isn't just the equivalent of taking in a Broadway show. I mean, for most of the people down there, this has deep religious and spiritual significance. I mean, as you said, in many ways, for New Yorkers, Central Park is already holy ground, okay? But in a very literal sense for that crowd here tonight, because the Holy Father just moved through it, this has become sacred space.
Take a look, Jim Sciutto. You see now the motorcade has come to a halt, and the pontiff is getting out of that Pope mobile, and he's going to begin this, continue this journey down to Madison Square Garden, where he'll be celebrating Mass with about 20,000 people. How did those 20,000 get selected, John?
Well, basically, there was a lot of...
They don't have to pay for that.
No. And it's not like the difference between the cheap seats and the skyboxes and that kind of thing. No, I mean, basically, New York parishes distributed tickets. In many cases, they would hold a lottery, or, in some cases, pastors would give them to people who were particularly important in the life of the parish and that kind of thing.
All right, you see that Pope mobile, Jim Sciutto, has now come to a halt. I want to quickly go down to Jason Carroll. He's on the street. He's an eyewitness to history that's been unfolding. Jason, what are you seeing?
Wolf, this is the moment that so many people out here have been waiting for, hoping for the moment when the Pope would exit the so-called Pope mobile and get out there and try to interact with some people, at least before he hops into his car there. I can't tell you how many people we spoke to today who said, we may not get close, we may be behind 10, we may be behind 15 people who are standing here, but just to be in Central Park, or in this case, even out in Columbus Circle, not being able to get into Central Park, it's still about being part of something special. I spoke to one man who's lived in New York, since 1979, and he said, I was here when Pope Benedict was here, and he said, I loved Pope Benedict, but he said, there's something very special about this particular man. He said, when I talk about him and when I see him, he said, my hairs on my arms stand up because there's something very special about him. He truly is the people's Pope. And you see that now. You see that with the crush of people who came out here, waited in line along Central Park West for hours, some of them knowing that they might not be able to get in, but saying, you know what, I have faith, I have hope, I want to be here anyway. Such a special time for so many people who are out here today, Wolf.
It's almost a miracle. I hate to use the word, but I think it's almost a miracle that all those people did get inside, all 80,000 who won those lottery tickets, because a half an hour or so ago, we thought there would be thousands, maybe even tens of thousands, who were stranded outside, who would be frustrated, who would understandably be very disappointed. But you know what? They all got inside, and they're obviously now very, very happy as we see what's going on. We can hear the sirens going on. Security, Jim Sciutto, incredibly intense.
It is, and think of this. This was about a 20-minute procession through Central Park. Enormously managed, right? I mean, a sad fact of the security situation, enormously managed. You drive down, you're surrounded by all those people. But as we said, they all got in, and just in time. And they're not going to forget it. Even us, as we're up here, and we kind of glanced at him through the trees from a couple hundred yards away. I'm going to remember that sight for sure. And I'll remember that well of sound rising from the park. He's giving a lot of people in New York something they won't forget.